All right, what's up, y'all? This is James from the Imfreeproject, and I wanted to holler at y'all for a second because I wanted to mention something about this Pastor Jamal Bryant being down in the ATL. Now he done came down to my old city. Now that I'm out here in Houston, I figured I'd come wreck shop over here for a minute. But seriously though, yes, I want to talk about, since I had a little history with New Birth. I want to give my 2 cents. Now, the thing about this, and I know you've all heard about Jamal Bryant by now, going down to Atlanta to become the head pastor there at the New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, which was previously held by Bishop Eddie L. Long, Mr. Legendary himself, and then there was interim pastor, and then supposedly his son was supposed to take it over for a while. All that happened for just a brief moment, and then there was a big selection pool to replace the interim pastors, and now they have Mr. Jamal Bryant. Now, you don't have to do too much research on Jamal Bryant. Just put in his name once on Google and you'll get enough information to know there's been a lot of issues behind his name, but also there's been things that he's done over the past that are also worthy of mentioning, that have been a blessing to others. I can't think of any right now, so I'm not going to get into what they are and what they possibly could have been, but we do know that Brother Man has a history. Now, I'm not getting into all of his history. We all have a past. That's all I'm going to say. So with that being said, here's my take on the brother being there at New Birth. Now, he's come to New Birth. I just recently saw an interview that he had with Frank Ski from the V103 morning show there in Atlanta. It's posted on YouTube. Maybe I'll leave a link to it down below. But he was on there answering questions by Frank Ski and I believe Wanda, or I think that was the lady's name. That was a lady that was on there. But they were talking about, you coming down to Atlanta, Chocolate City. There's a lot of women around here, so on and so forth. And then also about what are his plans about with the church. And just based on some of his answers, here's what I gathered based on some of his answers. And this is the part that gets me, and that really concerns me for the members of New Birth now that are still there, while the church is probably struggling, since there have been so many changes over the past few years. But here's what I have determined based on what he said and some of the things I've seen him do over the years online, and some of the videos that he's posted and some of the things that he said. Now, one of them is that what I know about Jamal Bryant, he is a social justice preacher. Now, when you get into social justice preaching away from kingdom preaching, you've missed the gospel altogether. Because when you exalt one part of the gospel over the other parts, which are equally important as well as the other things you should be mentioning as well, then you've gotten off kilter, and you're teaching a one-sided gospel, which is no gospel at all. So with that being said, if the majority of the things that you talk about is somebody getting over, getting past, getting up, and getting through, and then also the plight of the African Americans in America and the things that we have suffered within this country, and giving everybody that victim mentality, then you have completely missed the gospel. And so therefore you turn into a social justice preacher like that Ebenezer Baptist Church there in Atlanta. And I don't want to even tell you some of the people that have preached there and have spoken there, they've allowed to get into that pulpit. But, I recognized that a long time ago. And when I saw the lineup that was going on at Ebenezer, I just started shaking my head. Again, you get into social justice gospel, then you're getting into really no gospel at all. You get into like a little piece of the gospel, but yet you're missing the big entire picture. So, with that being said, yeah, with him being there, that's what's going to happen. And with his ability to attract young people, I wonder what he's going to do to maintain a young audience there. So how far will he go in order to be relevant, in order to meet the needs of millennials and all of those things? So do we manipulate the gospel to attract people by the flesh. And a lot of times that's what you see. And I'm not saying that's what he's going to do, but just based on what I have heard and seen him say and or do, it makes me wonder, is this the route that he's going to go? So that's what concerns me about him being at New Birth. Is that number one, this social justice gospel, and then number two, what is he going to do to attract all those young folk, and how far is he willing to go to be relevant in today's society and trying to revitalize that church? So that's my concern. That's what gets me, and I'm praying to God that as people come there, that they'll awaken. Oh, there's a lot of light bouncing up in here, and that people are awakening, and that they can see. And that maybe his heart is enlightened, and there's a change within his heart. Because if you're preaching a social gospel, then you're not really preaching the whole gospel. And so therefore you're doing people a disservice, and you're not necessarily leading them to Christ, but you allow this to become your God, and that's where you fail. All right, so this is James from the Imfreeproject. Remember, Jesus Christ is Lord. Get your eyes off of men, off of man, off of organizations, and get your eyes focused on Jesus, on God. So you guys, tell me what you think. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is the issue? What do you think is the deal with Mitch? I can never remember the guy's name. Is he? Well, maybe to me, maybe somewhat forgettable. But Jamal Bryant. What do you think? I mean, what do you really think about him being at New Birth? And do you think he's going to make a change, a good change, a positive change, or is just going to be a continued steady decline over at New Birth in terms of spirituality, in terms of how the operations of the church, what have you? So y'all let me know what you think.